Welcome back to Comics Podcast, where me and my mom look at some comics each week, and we're looking at a number one issue. We're looking at a couple number one issues, I think, today. This is X-Men number one from 1963 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and this is the classic lineup of the original 5 X-Men, and it's the first appearance of Magneto, I believe. So this came out in September, or at least that's the
September
issue
1st.
issue month.
The very month I was born. That's
I
crazy.
think that's the issue number. I don't think they tell you what day it comes out. And the publication month is usually, I think, different than the release month or something like that.
12 cents. Wow.
I like that Angel has a bazooka.
I know it. Iceman is funky looking. I do not ever remember him looking like cottage cheese.
Yeah, he kind of looks puffy the way that the Thing looked weird in his first appearance.
Yeah.
So, this is the first X-Men, and I guess it's different than the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, because it's like kids going away to a special academy. It's kind of like Harry Potter or something like that, where you go away to a special school, and that kind of sets it apart from the other two big teams, the Fantastic Four and the Avengers of this time period, because the Fantastic Four is more of a family.
Yeah.
Avengers is almost like, I don't know, it's how different the characters are from each other that makes it unique.
Right.
So you get like Norse gods and patriotic people.
People and narcissistic billionaires and yeah.
So most of what Professor Xavier says is through his thought bubbles. He sends some sharp, commanding thoughts out to the X-Men, and he says, "Class is now in session. Tardiness will be punished."
I wonder how.
He's pretty strict in this first one.
And his chair in the movies just move, and you just accept it as, oh yeah, well of course it would. Look at those spiky.
That's just a regular chair.
I know.
He's got a blanket over his legs, though. He's got a pinstripe suit on.
Yeah, he's intense. If the movie had been made back in the 60s, it would have been played by Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
So, this one starts off with the 4 main boys. Cyclops is kind of like the straight man, serious leader.
Oh, yeah.
Angel's the pretty boy. Beast is the smart nerd. And Iceman's the young one. He's like the runt. It's funny
it's
how
pole
he
dancer.
only wears
Boots. I know it.
I like the classic costume, though, that they have on.
That's my favorite costume. It's a little dorky, but I don't know. Maybe it brings back good memories. But...
They help Professor X recline, and they rearrange this blanket on his legs, I guess.
That is so odd.
Well, they want to make him comfortable as he puts them through their paces. That's what Angel says. The Iceman's showing Beast his new trick. He's like freezing his arm.
Oh, jeez.
He's putting frosting on it. He's got a new frosting power. And
Iceman is so different than the Iceman of...
yeah, he's more of a snowman.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like group infighting. That's kind of similar to Fantastic Four, where they bicker amongst themselves, especially the Thing and Johnny Storm. And it's weird because Professor Xavier just sits there
staring
with a blank expression, but he talks to all of them through his mind.
Individually?
I think collectively.
Wow.
Because he has to say, "Thank you, Angel." And now it is time to begin your lessons. The beast will be first. Prepare to operate his training machine, Cyclops. So he's addressing different ones by
Okay.
name. So they must all hear it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to address them by name.
True.
And so they do. This is, I guess, the first danger room. I don't think they called the danger room in this first issue. That's not for a couple more issues. But it's kind of like a gym. You know, they don't call it out by name as far as I can remember. He's spinning around on this bar. And he goes through.
Plays Quidditch before Quidditch.
Yeah. It's like
Wow.
a agility course at the dog show or something. I like the Beast's character design because he's so squat and wide looking, and his extremities, his feet and his hands are so big, but he's agile and delicate at the same time.
Yeah.
They do a good job with that to differentiate him from somebody like the Thing or the Hulk, who are kind of like bulkier characters.
Well, and then he's the brain. He's both Ben Grimm and Reed
Right, yeah.
together, you know?
Well, he really, his dialogue, that even from these early issues, is very Frasier-like. It's funny they got him to play Beast later because he was like a perfect fit for it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Angel's dodging around this fire pit, and there's a big crushing machine. Probably could have just gone over it.
Wow.
Some kind of
That's
Lazy
intense.
Susan-looking thing.
Deadly Susan.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
awful.
Weather
Holy
Vane or
crap.
something. And they all kind of, I think this scene really just demonstrates they're all pretty good, but then there's something that surprises them. I warned you against overconfidence. This sudden sound concussion is to test your survival ability. You must not fall to the ground. Hold on, Angel. Flap your wings. Keep flapping. Don't stop. You can do it, boy. You mustn't fall. I like how he reaches out and he, like,
Yeah.
gestures, but he's not going to speak. He's like, I prefer to speak through my thoughts. Thank you. It's almost like you get like a Stephen Hawking vibe when he's all reclined like that,
Yes.
and he's not moving his mouth or anything, but he's still calling out to them.
What was it that almost brought Beast down? Because, of course, with Angel, he's overconfident.
You know, actually, I think Beast overcomes all of his obstacles.
Yay.
He balances on
nerd.
one finger. Hold it, hold it. Too fast, you're swaying too much. Recover quickly. Now land on your feet before the rod snaps back. Careful, careful.
Wow.
Woo, how'd I do, sir? You'll receive your grade tomorrow. All right, Angel, it's your turn.
I love the writing and the artwork in these old comics. It almost like simplifies it. There's a beauty in the minimalist, you know, quality of them. Except for that. That is just creepy.
Well, yeah, I guess Iceman says, Professor, when are you going to stop taking it easy with me? Just because I'm a couple years younger than the others. How am I ever going to graduate at this rate? And Xavier says, some things cannot be rushed, Iceman. You may have 5 minutes of free play doing what you wish. Well, if he's going to treat me like a kid, I'll act like a kid. I'll need a carrot and some buttons.
no.
At least I'll get a few laughs out of this. Iceman forgets I can read his thoughts clearly. Beast, stand ready. We will test his reflexes within 10 seconds. Ta-da-da-da. Look at me, I'm a snowman. And then Beast throws a bowling ball at him. Shut the fuck up. I guess that's what Xavier wanted him to do. Why did they just have a bowling ball in that locker? Did they have a bowling alley in their school? Almost looks like it could be a bowling alley floor.
Yeah.
And it's like an improvised test, because I don't think Xavier was planning to test him. He's like, Beast, go throw a bowling ball at him.
Beast, what do you got?
What if he
My
wasn't
bowling ball.
expecting it? So he makes a little ramp. This is a common thing in the early days for Iceman, is he like
Yes.
diverts things with ramps.
Which,
They make him way more powerful in the more contemporary X-Men. He's like an Omega level mutant, because
Right.
theoretically you could like freeze all the water on Earth or something.
oh, yeah.
I guess that would be pretty powerful.
But that whole making ramps thing, it could go totally bad. You know what I mean? It's so uncontrollable that it gives him like a human quality of
Oh, that's another thing he
potential
likes
to-
to do. He likes to encase
yeah.
himself. It has perfect right angles. I don't know how does he get the edge on it? How does he stop it to be completely straight?
Yeah, because
He
wouldn't he
can't
do that
even-
to himself?
You would think.
Because that
Guess
is
he likes being
nasty.
lumpy.
Ooh.
And a different one, I think it's like issue 9 or 8 or something. They encounter the Avengers and Thor smashes his ice with one blow.
Well, yeah.
So I'm not a big Cyclops fan, but I do like this version of his character. I like this costume with the whole head, like the hood looking thing. So he's kind of scolding Iceman and Beast. Look, you two clowns, be more careful next time. That bowling ball just missed the professor by a whisker. That kind of horseplay isn't funny. You're going to damage the professor's whiskers. Quit grandstanding, Cyclops. We know what we were doing. I like how he's dropping his G's.
Yeah.
And the prof knows we don't want him to get hurt any more than you do.
Wow.
Hey, turn down that blasted visor of yours, will ya? You almost knocked me clean through a wall. So Cyclops just blasts him. That's one thing about these early issues, that Cyclops, he can use his ray to simply blast Beast. I guess that would hurt. It looks like
It looks
he's
painful,
embedded in
yeah.
the wall. And then if you go up a few issues, he can use his blast to do all sorts of things. Just to illustrate the range of the power really quick here. Yeah, he blows up an iceberg, so they're on a ship to Europe,
Whoa.
and he blows up an entire... It does make him a little woozy.
Wow.
Look at that young man, Matilda. He should have taken seasick pills. I declare, this younger generation just isn't as hardy as we were, Samuel. That's in, this is 9. I had this in my mind. I read this one recently, this Avengers crossover. And Professor X has a gun.
He's
You
got-
like it? That's his spelunking chair, because he goes down under the earth to confront Lucifer,
Oh my gosh.
and he needs tank treads, and he
That's
actually has a robot arms that go out to hold him up. So even if you're, even if you're disabled, you can still spelunk.
He's heavily abled. Holy cow.
I like how crazy his eyebrows look here. So back to the
Yeah.
original issue. Cyclops is just dishing out punishment to everybody because he breaks Iceman's cube and for good measure whoops someone. Okay, turn that blamed beam off, will ya?
Whoop.
Angel Beast, join Iceman, try to subdue Cyclops. That's like their last challenge. It's like take down Cyclops because he's the head of the class.
Well,
I like
he's
in these
always-
old comics, they always call things the blamed. That thing will do that a lot.
Oh,
Get
the
that
blame-
blamed thing off me. This blamed car won't start. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I always thought that was something people said when I was a kid because I would see that in comics and I would try it out and people were like, what?
Yeah.
Like my friends, when I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, that blamed thing. And they'd be like, that what thing? It's blamed, you know?
What was that, Mr. Modi? You're 9. Sir? What was that?
I always thought people said that, but I think maybe they couldn't say damn or
Yeah.
like hell or some of the softer swears. That blamed thing.
That, gosh darn.
They don't say like that lousy thing or that stupid thing. They gotta say that blamed.
That
So, I don't know. Did people
Yeah.
actually say that back in 1963?
I kind of can imagine
When you
my
were a baby?
mom. You blamed. You blamed thing.
So anyway, the lesson is over. We must turn our energies to different matters. Return to your places at once.
Jeez, he's.
I know. I like all the
Intense.
little detail on his eyes, the little lines.
The
He
little
put his
tiny
mascara
Cyclops
on
in
that
there.
day. So, stunned by the force and explosive power of Professor Xavier's mental command, the X-Men recoil and draw back, their friendly free-for-all completely forgotten. Whew, he almost bowled me over with that one. Let's simmer down and see what happens next.
Simmer
So,
down,
this is
guys.
weird because he's talking. I congratulate you all. You've mastered reading my thoughts perfectly, and now I shall return to normal speech communication. Why not just start talking?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's to tell the reader that he can do both, but he's like, this whole time he's been communicating with thought commands, and now he's like, okay, everyone, I'm going to talk. Prepare yourselves now. You may
He
be
should've just-
interested.
Scared him. you
Yeah,
know?
right? That's what I would have done. You may be interested to learn that at this very moment I sense a taxi approaching our main gate. Within that vehicle is a new pupil. a most attractive young lady.
Who is to
It's a
become
weird way to introduce her.
the most deadly X-Men in
Yeah.
existence.
And Ronald Reagan is there for some reason. So, this is Marvel Girl. And they really make a big deal. I guess it's an all-boys school up until then, so it kind of makes sense, but they all make a big deal about her being a
So
girl,
this
you
is
know.
before Jean Grey.
Well, that's Jean Grey,
Oh.
Marvel Girl.
Okay, okay.
Yep, her name is Jean Grey. Miss Jean Grey. She will be known as Marvel
Marvel
Girl,
Girl.
aka Jean Grey. And then aka
God.
the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then
And
I
then-
think she was the Black Queen when she's under control of the Hellfire Club.
Boy, she's had a
Yeah.
long story.
Yeah. She was
Wow.
cloned as Madeline Pryor, who became the Goblin Queen. So she's dropped off, and we're not really sure what she can do until she moves a chair with her thoughts. So this time she does telekinesis, but I don't think she can read people's thoughts or like control them or anything like Professor X can. She's just, you know, from a couple of feet away, she can levitate a book and thumb through the pages
Okay.
and then put it back neatly. It's not very powerful.
Bookmark it. Put it back.
I guess that's why she's at the school, is to learn to do things more powerfully. I also like how Angel can hide his wings. He has like
Oh,
a
yeah.
little girdle thing that he puts on, like that stuffs his wings. But you would think you'd see a big bulge on his back.
Yeah.
He must wear really baggy clothes, I guess.
My mom would have said he was a hunchman.
Yeah.
You'd think there'd be a hump, though.
So, let's see. Thank you, Jean, and now let me tell you more about my school. I was born of parents who had worked on the first A-bomb project. Like yourselves, I am a mutant. Possibly the first such mutant. I have the power to read minds and to project my own thoughts into the brains of others. But when I was young, normal people feared me, distrusted me. I realized the human race is not yet ready to accept those with extra powers. So I decided to build a haven, a school for X-Men. Those with extra powers. People with regular powers. But if you have any extra powers, no. Here we stay unsuspected by normal humans as we learn to use our powers for the benefit of mankind, to help those who would distrust us if they knew of our existence. Due to a childhood accident, I myself must remain in this chair, but through a master control panel I have many devices at my command, and through my mind I am always in touch with my X-Men. And now I leave you to get to know each other better.
And look at the guys. Ew, they're creepy.
You know, I said that even early on they had the Beast to be really eloquent, but not so much in this first issue now that I see it again.
Yeah.
Let me be the first to welcome you to the X-Men, beautiful. And kisses her on the cheek. For the love of Pete. Compared to the one we were just looking at,
Yeah.
Beast, here's Beast. A most opportune gesture, but I suggest you divert your attention to the Wasp who seems to have you in her sights.
Yeah.
And Giant Man's like, save your flowery phrases for someone who will be more impressed, son. I hold a few college degrees myself. Now go swallow another dictionary somewhere while I attend to more urgent matters.
That's awesome.
So maybe they hadn't settled on Beast being a little wordy. But I love this. Marvel Girl reporting Cyclops. Why, what's wrong? Look out, you'll stumble in that hole in front of you. There's not enough time to sidestep. So by telekinetically putting this log over it, I can step down safely. Woo, you really missed a deadly trap there.
Oh
You
my
almost twisted
gosh.
your ankle. So there's enough time to move it mentally, but you can't just step slightly differently.
Right.
That's crazy.
Or just stop. Just,
Yeah, just stop walking for 1 second. Nope, I built up too much momentum.
I need Jean Grey.
So anyway, back to the first issue. She's impressing everyone. Oh boy, what a gal. I hope she keeps that big ape up there forever. She's levitating the Beast and spinning him around,
Awesome.
breaking the couch,
Ooh,
whumping him down.
he asked for it.
So I guess, she's pretty powerful. She can levitate a human being. That's pretty... In fact, she does that later on. She uses it to disorient people. Like, I think Quicksilver's running around. She's like, if I levitate him off the ground, he'll get all confused.
Yeah.
I guess he can get no leverage. He'd just be spinning around at super speed, but he can't push off of anything.
Yeah.
Almost looks like the Watcher there. But that's Professor X. Not quite as
Baby-like.
baby-faced. He's like a slim Watcher.
And he's picking up vibes.
Yeah, he says not all of them. He's talking about the mutants generally. Not all of them want to help mankind. Some hate the human race and wish to destroy it. Some feel that the mutants should be the real rulers of Earth. It is our job to protect mankind from the evil mutants. At that very moment, just such a mutant prepares to strike in a secret laboratory near Cape Citadel. The moment is at hand. All my months of preparation and planning shall now pay off. The human race no longer deserves dominion over the planet Earth. The day of the mutants is upon us. The first phase of my plan shall be to show my power, to make Homo sapiens bow to Homo superior. The mightiest rocket of all is about to be launched. Using maximum security precautions, the government feels nothing can prevent its successful flight. But here, miles from the launching site, I, the miraculous Magneto, alone shall make...
Miraculous.
He's miraculous. He's going to make a mockery of their greatest effort. So his whole plan, I guess, is to divert the rocket's course and cause all sorts of... but he takes credit for it.
He signs his name.
Yeah, in cursive. The rest is in print, but... Magneto. Yours truly. I can feel the irresistible waves of pure magnetic energy surging from me. Now, by exerting every iota of power, I can direct that energy upward, until it strikes the speeding missile, causing it to change direction, to falter, to lose altitude, to be completely, irrevocably destroyed.
You know, the vocabulary in these early issues is fantastic. You know?
Yeah.
Because if you're reading that to your 5-year-old kid in bed, and then they go to school,
They're like,
And get-
irrevocably. They start saying, that blamed thing. And everybody thinks they're weird. So, the army is alarmed, and more sabotage happens. Run for cover. The gun is out of control. It's like shooting that guy. A tank's running amok. Appearing as though by magic over the heads of the astonished troops, huge letters take shape, composed of the dust particles from the air itself, skillfully magnetized into a message by the unseen mutant. Surrender the base or I'll take it by force. Magneto.
yours truly.
Best, Magneto.
You know, people didn't really talk about it as much as I thought, but back in the day with the movies, did you ever think which powers you'd rather have, Magneto's or Charles's?
Whose power?
Yeah. I mean, Magneto is flashy. And
I feel like Professor X is more powerful.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
This is as far as doing anything that you wanted to do. If you were really like were around a lot of metal a lot, I could see.
Right.
I mean, I know he can magnetize other things, or in some version he controls like the iron in your body or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But everybody's got a mind, you know?
Right. Even him.
Unless he wears that helmet to protect himself from Xavier, I think.
Right.
I don't think they established that in this one. He just wears it for aesthetics in this one. But,
I wonder if he could weaponize balloons. You know how, like, when you rub them on your
well, if
clothes?
they're made of a ferrous metal.
True.
You mean like a static electricity?
Yeah.
He could shock you. It would surprise
It would.
you.
You're like, ouch. Is that Magneto?
I'll never tell. So, let's see.
expressions
Magneto,
are
who?
great.
What is Magneto? General, what does it mean? Is someone playing grim prank? You saw that machine gun, that tank rampaging out of control. This is no joke, Colonel. They are startled. Good, the element of surprise is in my favor. But they're making no move to surrender. Perhaps they need another demonstration of my power. I'll direct my magnetic impulses into this energizer to increase their power. And then I'll leave the helpless Homo sapiens with no room for doubt. I like that from his first appearance. He kind of talks the way consistently with how he's depicted throughout the whole series up to the modern
Absolutely.
day of how he is a little arrogant. And
Yes.
it's funny though that they call him the Evil Mutants because he starts the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Like, just call it the Brotherhood of Mutants or something.
Right.
They don't call it evil because it's too black and white. I guess that
Yeah.
just shows you the difference in how comics are written.
It's like when they went to the print shop to get their business cards, did they tell the graphic designer, more evil? Can you make it more
Well,
evil?
Today, I think everybody that writes comics went to like creative writing school, and they're like, you have to make a good villain has sympathetic motivations, and you have to make him ambiguous and not just morally black and white. So it's probably why they do that now. But it is goofy. Like, do you want to join my brotherhood of mutants? Did you whisper evil? Is it just a brotherhood of mutants, or specifically evil ones? Yes. So he's launching off some rockets. I don't know how he starts the thruster. Maybe there's a lever or something that he activates, but I think he would just levitate it without having to use the rocket part.
Right.
And he shoots it into the sea.
Oh, jeez.
You think he would blow up that boat, but that would be too violent for this kind of comic, I guess.
I love the waves of his magnetic...
Yeah, that's cool. 'Cause they're trying to hurt him, but they can't.
Jeez. Just think, I mean, you would whip a grenade at him, but he could just fling that...
You could put the pin back in before
Oh,
it goes
yeah,
off.
that's right.
So he's subduing all these regular Homo sapiens here.
He's
I like how jauntily
Yes.
he's strutting through there.
Oh, there we... Ooh!
I told you.
Baggy pants.
It's like, I'll put these Jinko jeans on to hide my wings. There's plenty of room for both wings and one pant leg. So they've got Marvel Girl being spied on. Wowie, it looks like she was poured into that uniform. Iceman.
Oh, my God.
It's like, maybe she should get changed in her room with the door closed. Just like in the living room or something. And, yeah, they kind of write the Beast. Stan Lee's writing him kind of like the Thing. Easy, gorgeous. We was just passing by. Don't go getting mad.
Yeah.
So they are summoned by Professor X, and Iceman's like, oh, I almost forgot to put my boots on. That's all he has to do to get ready. He's like, I'll get completely naked, cover myself in ice, and then put my boots on. And then poor Angel's like, oh, I gotta get these wings out. They fell asleep. I have no feeling in my wings because they're all bunched up. Iceman's getting naked over there. He doesn't have to. He just prefers it.
Yeah. The professor's like, please put a uniform on.
I like this. But the time has not yet come for the Angel to fly. Instead, the band of superhuman teenagers are driven to the airport in Professor Xavier's specially built Rolls-Royce with its dark-tinted windows. Boy, it must have taken a heap of green stamps to buy a chariot like this. Buy is B-Y.
Oh, my gosh.
I've noticed a couple typos in these old collections. Not very frequently, but every few issues there's like a missing letter or a word is repeated twice in a row accidentally. It usually happens where a word will be on the end of a line and they'll accidentally put your again on the next one. And it's pretty infrequent though. I don't know if it was in the original version or if it was introduced in this reprint.
Yeah.
I feel like it must have been in the original because they...
But were the originals in color?
Yeah. That's the only difference with these essential ones. I like these essentials because you can find them used pretty cheap. And honestly, like compared to some of the old collections, this is a DC one, trade paperback, and I like the colors, but it certainly dates it.
Yeah.
Like they're so retro looking, which is cool, but it's not so much that one's better or worse. But I do like the black and white as a contrast because it makes it seem a little more timeless.
It's timeless, and I think it like kind of breaks down a very complicated scenes.
It makes you appreciate the inking
Yes.
and the pencils a lot more too.
Yes. I really like it.
Sometimes, especially in the old, especially if they're like a floppy, like an individual issue, the color ones, over time, I feel like the color fades, or in the
Or it
original
just gets
printing, it's
funky.
just a little murky looking.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I find that the black and white, it makes you appreciate the negative space a lot more.
Yes.
Like sometimes it makes you realize, man, there's a lot of scenes where there's no background and all. They're like, just stop drawing his room. I don't have time to finish it. But you don't need to. It's like a dramatic effect of like, he's a human, so you would think, but he reveals his mutation, and the background goes away just to focus on him.
Right,
instead of
right.
being in a normal surrounding.
Actually, seeing like the black and white versions, it gives you like it gives you like the idea that you could do it. You could, you could make a comic.
Yeah, that's the thing about this early style is it's less dense than like the at least when I was a kid in like the 90s, the pencil style was way more
Oh,
cross-hatching
gosh, yes.
and the inking. It was a lot of like Todd McFarlane was the first guy to start drawing Spider-Man where the webs, I guess they called it spaghetti webbing, where it's like so detailed. There's
Yes.
little knots in it, and every little strand, there's like a million lines.
Yes.
There's something, I used to think like, okay, and that's more modern, so it's like better, it's superior.
But there's
But
something.
sometimes less is more.
Yeah, there's something.
I mean, there's still detail lines like the texture on Cyclops' costume here, but that's enough. It doesn't have to have like 37 pouches on it. and
Right. He doesn't need a 12-pack that stick.
Only 10 pack. But yeah, they're normal looking people. Like their physique are like,
Yes.
they're not like elite bodybuilders. They're just like normal people. like
Except
that.
Iceman. Ugh.
Yeah. So they go to the army and they're like, what are the X-Men? And he's like, no time to explain, sir. I respectfully request you to hold your fire for 15 minutes while my partners and I go into action. So they're going to stop Magneto. I like this dotted lines.
Oh.
The beam is so powerful. Cyclops, does he have like a little knob?
Yeah, that he
Or
can
is it a
adjust
push
it.
button of like, everybody's human. What if he got it wrong? When he was blasting Beast in the previous page, and
yeah.
he just did that. Hardness on Beast and killed him. Oops, the button was a little sticky.
I like how everybody's freezing when Iceman goes by.
He could have just had nothing and just like the beam, but he put the little dot of like his head's in
His
there
little
somewhere. It's a weird choice. I like it though.
Your face here.
Yeah. So, let's see. Behind the force field, the natural energy feedback weakens the startled Magneto. Some power is attacking me. Some power as superhuman as my own. I was staggered because I was unprepared for any such onslaught. But now that I'm forewarned, I can defeat any foe, no matter how superhuman he may be. It's funny, he uses the word onslaught because he becomes Onslaught, remember?
Oh.
When I was a kid, that was the...
Yeah.
So from like 1961, I think was Fantastic Four #1, 1961 or 62, all the way up to, gosh, it must have been probably in 98 or 97 or something like that, is when they did Heroes Reborn. And that was the first time that Marvel had restarted their continuity. DC had done it with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they're like, okay, we only need one Superman. We don't need like Earth 2
Right.
Superman and then Gray Sideburn Superman.
But save
and,
Bizarro.
yeah, we still need Bizarro. But then every other Earth has their own Bizarro. So maybe there's like a gray-haired, he's got
Right.
there's smart Bizarro out there somewhere. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is he uses the word onslaught, and this is, it's not connected to it actually, but it's ironic because this is the first time we see these
Yeah.
characters. Eventually, Magneto and Professor X's their psychic energy creates that being Onslaught, who looks like a really buff Magneto. He's got like red and purple armor, but he has no like human face. He's like a big robot looking guy.
Yeah.
And it takes the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, basically anyone who's not an X-Man to kill Onslaught. And then they get Franklin transports them.
Oh.
So the Fantastic Four son, Franklin, creates an alternate Earth. And that's when
That's
Heroes Reborn
Franklin.
started. They had all the image artists who had worked at Marvel, quit to form their own company, Image. And then Marvel had, these are like the most popular artists. So like Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, who everybody makes fun of that Captain America with the crazy chest and the awkward head tilt. And anyway, they were the most selling artists, so they got them to do Heroes Reborn. That's when that Captain America was first drawn. And it's funny, so we from 1963, when this
All
is
the
first,
way.
all the way up to the 90s, it was the same continuity.
Wow.
And it was the Onslaught creature that reset the continuity, and that didn't last very long. The Heroes Reborn, they were like, okay, let's reboot it again. And I think since then they've rebooted a couple times with first issues.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now I see my antagonists, 5 costume youths. Surely all their powers put together can be no match for mine. But I will let the base's hunter missiles do my fighting for me. They will hunt the 5 down,
course.
attracted by their body heat. Interceptor missiles fire. I thought they were hunter missiles. They're interceptor missiles now. And so, at the press of a button, Magneto unleashes 5 of the most sophisticated weapons ever created, all zeroed in on the X-Men. And so, kind of similar to how we get their training montage, we get how does every individual member fare against the missiles? He throws snowballs at them. It freezes them. So the first target for the merciless missiles is the Angel, flying closest to them. Gotta dodge him somehow. It's no use, they're too fast, gaining on me. Hang on, Angel, I can help you. While they're still within range, these ice grenades mustn't miss. They're the Angel's only chance. Just as the 100 missiles are attracted by heat, so are the Iceman's ice grenades attracted by the missile's speed. And so, bullseye. It worked.
Nice.
The ice covered their noses, preventing them from exploding. Now, with their guidance systems knocked out, they've got to drop to the ground.
Nice.
So there's still one coming after Angel, and so the Beast is like, I'll do a bunch of like unnecessary flipping on these parallel bars and catch it with my feet. It's creepy how he's got like monkey hand or monkey feet.
Prehensile toes.
Mm-hmm. And Marble Girl takes over and puts it in the water.
Nice.
And so Magneto is like, I've got a bunch of spare junk over here I'll hurl at you magnetically.
Jeez.
But Cyclops blasts it.
Can you imagine though all that melted metal just dropping down?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I like how he's hiding.
Yes.
Magneto can't have gone far. Let's find him. They're all together now. Good. I'll finish them off with one fell swoop. So he pushes this. I like how he pushes it with his hands instead of using his magnet power. Not all those with mutant powers are fit to rule the Earth. You must be destroyed. Heads up, X-Men. Here comes trouble. Rocket fuel. It's already on fire.
Oh, jeez.
That reaction shot. He looks
Yes.
crazy. Now with them out of the way, nothing remains to interfere with the master plan of the miraculous Magneto. The heat is so intense that even I cannot get close to it. I must walk carefully around it. That beam from beneath the ground, what does it mean? It means you're finished, Magneto. Cyclops created a tunnel for us under the blast with his energy beam, saving us from the impact.
Nice.
You know, his energy beam is versatile. It can attack, it can defend.
Yeah.
You haven't defeated me yet. I can still escape you, flying by means of magnetic repulsion. Ugh! He created another magnetic force field. Can't fly through. Don't worry, Angel. We'll breach it in no time. And breach it they do. But by that time...
Wedgie though, man.
He's gone, but where? A mutant with his powers? He could be anywhere. But at least we've beaten him for now. Your base is operational again, General. Magneto is gone. Uncanny! Your 15 minutes are not... You're like, wait a minute, that word! Uncanny X? I don't think they call them. Yeah, they're the strangest superheroes of all, the X-Men. Uncanny! That's where it comes from, I guess. So, yeah, that's about it. And we get Professor X's curling brow in the clouds. Well done, students. You have justified all our long hours of training, all our sacrifices, all our dreams. And now, return to me, my X-Men. It's weird how he calls them my X-Men.
My X-Men, yeah.
It's very possessive.
His collection.
My X-Men, not any others.
My precious.
And we're not going to read it today, but who can forget the classic X-Men villain in number 2, the Vanisher.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, wait, everyone forgot him, because I've never heard of him until I read this the other day. Look at his
That's
terrible
crazy.
snakeskin-looking outfit.
Yeah.
This is, that's a great panel, though.
Yes, that's...
But we'll have to look at some of these
Ooh.
old issues
Can you imagine
in
having
another
to use any,
episode.
like a keyboard or anything after Beast?
Oh,
It's
God.
like, there's toe.
There's toe hair
jam.
on it, yeah. I
Wow.
love some of these character designs. That must be like an amalgam of all their powers.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any snow on him, though. I guess it's on the railing.
Yeah.
See,
That's
now we get
cool.
more of a classic Iceman design by this
Yes.
era. It's like, give me some edges. I want to have flat parts on my skull. He actually, in that form, looks like he could be Yul Brynner right there.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
He's looking a little funky there.
It's cool
And
how
who could forget Unis, the Untouchable?
Unis. Ew.
He's a mutant who cannot be touched. He has some kind of force field, so if you're trying to touch him to cause him harm or anything, you're deflected. That's his whole... That's one thing I noticed reading these old X-Men. There is kind of a repeating theme of characters who cannot be stopped or hurt or are like unmovable, because
Oh, is the Blob in there?
the Blob, of course, is in here. And I didn't realize this until I revisited these first issues. I had always thought the Blob was one of the evil mutants, and later on he is. But he's actually in the third issue as a standalone villain. They're all against just the Blob. I always think of him as a henchman of like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Magneto's gonna, he's like, you obese fellow, attack them, and then
Right.
I will attack them when you inevitably fail. Also, Beast's really letting his foot hair grow out. It's peeking out through his pants.
He's going total
I don't
Hobbit
think-
now.
Yeah, I don't think we saw that in the first issue. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, he cannot be moved. That's like
Right.
his mutant power. Is if he's got his feet on the ground, he can absorb
No, Unis there.
cannonballs and
Wow.
he actually leads the circus guys to like take over the X-Mansion. He does a really good job, and the only way they could defeat him is they have Professor X like mind wipe him. So that's a thing as early as like the third issue is Professor X is like, well, I have no choice but to mind wipe someone. It's like, you go to that option pretty quickly.
You don't shy away from that as much
You
as you
totally
want us to
shattered his
think you do.
identity. He's got to ride the short bus now because you went a little too hard on the mental wipe again.
Oh, man.
And then the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is not introduced till the fourth. I mean, it's alluded
Okay.
to that there is a group of the Evil Mutants, but we don't know that it's a Brotherhood. That head thing that they make. What is that? What was the idea? I've never seen, like, in a historical fashion or anything, anyone wear this weird kind
Yeah,
of... It's not a
it's-
mask, it's not a hood. Is there a back that wraps around, or is it just like a strap?
It almost looks like it's her mom made it. Oh, it's Halloween.
Oh, thanks, Mom. You're wearing it backwards. What? It's upside down, too.
Yeah.
They really
it's
make
odd.
Toad look like chubby Jerry Lewis or something.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a weird looking guy. The point I'm trying to make, though, ultimately, is we have Unis the Untouchable, we have the Blob, and then, of
Blob.
course, who could forget the actual classic? Oh, I just skipped over him. The Juggernaut.
Oh,
who,
that Juggernaut.
Once he starts moving, nothing can stop the momentum of
Right.
the Juggernaut, except in the 90s. That's one of Onslaught's claim to fame, is he stopped the Juggernaut. I don't think even Hulk has ever stopped the Juggernaut's
Right.
momentum, but I could be wrong about that. That's one of those things that, like, they never can until that one time they let them do it. And they're like, oh, remember the time that Hulk stopped the Juggernaut? Who could forget the Porcupine Man?
Oh my God.
I know him from, I associate him more with Captain America. But anyway, I'm getting too caught up in these old X-Men. We got to
These
do a DC
old-
one.
These old books are amazing in that you can watch the smallest changes of character or costume or,
You realize how up in the air a lot of,
Yes.
well, look at that.
The choice of-
That's not the Batman I'm used to. 1939, though. Gosh, we're closing in on 100 years of Batman.
That was before my mom was born.
Wow.
3 years before my mom was born, the Batman existed. Wow. So
That's crazy to think about.
yeah. And, like you were saying with the color comics, I really enjoy the Batmans in color.
So your mom's a boomer.
Mom, no,
That would be
silent,
the baby boomer,
silent
right?
generation.
I thought 39 to 45 or something was boomers.
Nope, that was the silent.
Because that's the World War II era.
That was the silent generation.
So you're a boomer.
I'm a Jones.
Okay, boomer. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
These
Generation
colors.
Jones.
I mean, I know I said it dated it,
But isn't it just?
It's not that it's
vibrant?
bad though. It is. It does look. It does like trap it in a certain era,
Yeah, yeah.
but it is cool looking too. And some of the textures.
I know it. Even on the tweet suit.
So is this the one you did today? The
This
very
is
first one.
the very
I was-
first Batman.
Good. I was hoping we could look at some number ones.
I love, and it's exciting to me to go through these like encyclopedia, level books. That we get to see him transform,
I know.
and I mean the drawing. Look at how funky that his legs look.
I'm excited to look at these ones because a lot of the things we associate with Batman, my understanding, I haven't looked at these myself, but my understanding is not all of them were true. Like, I think he kills people or lets them die early on. I think he might use a gun in this golden age at certain points.
It's-
Not in this issue specifically, but, we think of him as not, he never takes a life. He's like,
Yeah.
well, you carried him by his head and it snapped his neck. So, well, I've got a lot to learn, but I didn't mean to take his life.
Yeah.
I tore his head off accidentally with the momentum.
Who thought that his head couldn't support his body? Bruce's.
I can speak every language on earth, and I know all martial arts. I didn't realize I would break his head off, though.
Right. So we start off with Bruce visiting the commissioner, and they're having cigars and whatnot.
I like this, the case of the chemicals,
Yes.
because it's a detective comic, so it would make sense that they'd give them, like a Sherlock Holmes, the case of the something.
Yes. And the commissioner is called away because someone's been murdered. And so I like this hero. He's like,
So
"Hey."
that's Bruce Wayne, and
Yes.
he just hangs out with the commissioner
Yeah,
of...
he's a generation younger.
They're
He's rich.
smoking,
They're
too.
smoking.
You never see that in a comic today.
And then he gets a call that there's been a murder. So I'll be right over. He's like, hey, Bruce, what are you doing? You want to come? He's like, sure.
You want to come to this murder scene? You got a homicide. I also like the one-sided phone dialogue we get of like he has to repeat just the most pertinent part of every phrase. What's that? The Chemical King? Stabbed to death? His son's fingerprints on the knife? Stop saying everything that you're saying.
Jinx. Yeah, it's hilarious. And they get there, and the son explains to him that he came home, heard a grunt in the library or his dad's office, went in there, and then, like you do, you touch the murder weapon.
Wow.
So that's how his prints got on there. And he explains that the last words his dad said were contract. Oh! And Commissioner's like, contract? Who had, what were his enemies? What must be a business? And look at Bruce standing there. And so they realize that, okay.
It's a weird hat choice for that suit.
I know. And look at how his hat went from, what color was it? Oh, no, it's always been white.
Are you
Bruce is
thinking
white.
of the...
I was thinking of the
Commissioner's like, let me
commissioners.
get my green cap. It is St. Patrick's Day after all.
So they realize it's got something to do with his business, whether it's other business people but so Bruce says, well, he goes, wait, and do not let anybody in. We'll be over soon as we can. What's that, Bruce? Ho hum. I'll leave you to finish your work. I'm going home. Like, what the
We
heck is
drove
that?
together. You're my ride, man. Ho hum.
He's yawning, and he's dumping his pipe in the room with the crime
Oh
scene.
my God, he's just tampering with the crime scene.
So meanwhile, at another place, because they had talked about how these three businessmen had been...
Oh, it's a series of murders.
That had
Alfred
threats.
Stryker, Paul Rogers, Stephen Crane.
Yes, and they had reported threats against him. He got a call from this dude, and when he hung up, he's met with
Uh-oh.
a guy
in
with
an
a
orange pinstripe
news
suit.
with the news cap on, and he shoots him and takes off with something in his hand.
Yeah, these old ones, the X-Men included, it seems like they're just let's have whatever excuse to get to the action part or to the with the, oh, I'm going home. Like, there's no further explanation of like, oh, he has to fake that he's sick or come up with, like that's a more modern thing of
Oh,
like
yeah.
Bruce has more clever ways of getting out of situations to
Remember
turn into Batman.
recently he was on a date and he had to meet up with his tailor or something about a silk shirt or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
there was-
like, up, diarrhea again. Sorry. I'm going home, guys. My IBS.
so
Little do they know, it's irritable Batman syndrome. Off to fight some crime.
Oh, that's awesome. So this other crime happens while Bruce is leaving, but as the guy's escaping, he's met with the Bat Dash Man.
It's odd how his cape,
Yes.
look at it.
It's almost
like a parachute there.
Yes, and connected to his arms, kind of.
Yeah, does he put like chicken wire on the inside to make it all puffy, to puff out?
I love how they draw him. So
The Batman.
The Batman.
It's like how they hyphenate Spider-Man. I
Yes.
never write it out that way. When I talk about Spider-Man, I usually put it as all one words, but it technically is a hyphen. They
Yeah.
did away with it for Batman.
Yeah. So he makes short work of
He really looks like a
that
Shiba
guy.
Inu or something.
He
in some of-
really does. He really does the
Sheepman.
angles that they draw him at.
He's very dog-like.
So they
Or cat-like, maybe.
go on to the commissioner draws up his car at the next home where he's met with Mr. Crane has been murdered. So Batman's got the contract that he took from that guy, so he's putting the pieces together and he speeds his car towards an unknown destination.
It's weird that trying to depict night in this color scheme,
Yeah.
that works the best. Just black sky
black.
with a moon. But once they start adding blue, I'm like, is he just up on the roof in the middle of the day? Like,
Oh yeah.
hey, Batman's over on a roof over there. I wonder if they had a leak or something.
But even if that was black, the
Yeah, you wouldn't be
moonlight
able
would-
to. Yeah, it would illuminate him. I see what you're saying. But yeah, especially since the roof is so light colored, it looks like the sun is shining. And this looks like a day scene.
Yes, it does.
The night works better here when you have the haze, these lines of like haziness, and I guess we have a
Right.
little bit of it here. But some of these sky shots are like it's 3 in the afternoon in July.
This case is taking days. Yeah, so then meanwhile, Rogers, who has learned of Lambert's death by news broadcast, has already gone to the neighboring laboratory of his erstwhile partner, Alfred Stryker.
There's some vocabulary.
Look at-
Erstwhile.
Yeah, and he's met by his assistant. Hello, Jennings. Must see Stryker quickly. Won't you come in?
Sock.
That's crazy. He ties him up. So his henchman gets the last guy, and he explains, "This is hilarious. This is the gas chamber I used to kill guinea pigs to experiment with."
Why is it so big?
I know it. And he doesn't go on. He just to experiment with.
As you do, you kill guinea pigs. Science.
But now you are my guinea pig.
Okay.
When the glass lid covers you entirely, gas will come through the jet and kill you.
I like that one's in parentheses. That one's like set off with an exclamation point and like some motion lines or
Yeah.
something. That's weird.
You fiend. So he's going down into the basement to turn the gas on. Sleep well. And then Batman drops in through an open transom. And the Batman seizes a wrench from the table and leaps for the gas chamber. So he gets in there and stuffs a handkerchief. That's back when you carried handkerchiefs. He's got really high pants on. And shoves it up into the gas chamber so it can't come down. And then he smashes the gas chamber itself.
He had a wrench?
He grabbed a wrench off the table.
It's back in the day before having gadgets. He just had various tools in his belt. I'll get these pliers. You have a measuring tape? Yes, I do.
Before we fight, do you have any painter's tape? So the guy comes back up and what the? And Bruce I love how this
The action's
makes,
crazy. How
Yeah.
he straddles him weirdly, starts punching him.
I mean, that's how you would think Batman, who
Yeah.
doesn't have powers, would fight. And so then the Jennings boss comes down and confronts them, and he pulls out a knife, and Batman, ow, my hand.
I think that's what's missing. Cowl. It's just cape. I guess that it's connected. You could see there, but like in this panel, it looks like he's just got a black mask on with a cape that comes from his back or shoulders. In some of the panels, it looks more like a complete connected thing, but
Crazy looking.
it's a little weird looking.
So he grabs the bad guy's hand. Oh, my hand. And so he's holding him. And they explain in here. There's this rat was behind the murders, you see. I learned that you, Lambert, Crane, and Stryker were once partners in the Apex Chemical Corporation. And Stryker, who had wished to be sole owner but having no ready cash, made secret contracts with all of them to pay a certain sum of money each year until he owned the business. He figured by killing you and stealing the contracts, he wouldn't have to pay the money. It's like, a very clever scheme. And being the contracts were a strict secret between the four of us, their heirs wouldn't know. He goes, I secured this contract from one of his hired killers. And he gets so mad that he gets out of Batman's grip. Look at how
Well,
crazy.
speaking of taking life, Batman's like, bitch. He punches him. A fitting ending for his kind. No remorse.
Into a vat of acid.
Sock. I like how they use that as their onomatopoeia. Sock.
Yeah, I love the pose that he's in. He looks wild. It's like a bar fight. He goes, how can I ever think? Why, gone. He goes up the transom. And then the next day, young Bruce Wayne is again a visitor at the commissioner's house.
Ho-hum.
Who has just finished telling Bruce the latest exploits of the Batman. And then Roger said the Batman went through the skylight. A very lovely fairy tale, Commissioner, indeed. And after Bruce Wayne is gone, Bruce Wayne is a nice young chap, but he certainly must lead a boring life. Seems disinterested in everything. And then Bruce Wayne returns home to his room. A little later, his door slowly opens and reveals its occupant. If the commissioner could see his young friend now, he'd be amazed to learn that he is the Batman.
Is this where it's revealed to us, the audience, as well? We don't see that Bruce Wayne is Batman before that, or
Right?
do we?
No. He just goes, hey,
What a short comic.
You want to go see this murder? Sure.
How long did it take you to read this one? It's like 4 pages. Yeah, I guess we don't see it, huh? We just cut to Batman
So,
investigating.
This is like,
Ho-hum.
it's not even his origin story. It's just kind of how he's...
It's also interesting because we don't really get why he figured this out. Like, he explains that, oh, this is why they were trying to kill you, but
Right.
in some of the longer Batman, the more contemporary ones, we'd get an exploration of like he's like, oh, he found this trace
Right.
powder on the floor, and he collects it in a little vial and brings it back to the Batcave.
Well, I
and
guess,
finds out
you
it's
know-
scrapings from this thing that only could have been in this one place and owned by this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is a different format and level of complexity, but it's just funny to see that because I'm so used to the contemporary Batman where he's like a
super
Renaissance
detective.
man
Yeah.
of, you
like
do a-
Sherlock, seeing all the levels of how things go together. In this, he was probably there like, okay, contract. I'll go check on the other guy that just called, and then he didn't make it fast enough.
I really like these red backgrounds.
Yes.
They're great contrast for some of the green.
Yeah,
It's
especially.
interesting when they do the fade, the yellow to
Yes.
red or orange fade. It really gives a different kind of emotion to the panel.
I like how stoic he is in some of these.
It's weird that we have the orangish red like 3 times.
Got green.
Then we've got green.
1, 2, 3
It's almost like a
times.
pinkish to white.
Yeah.
I really like the deep lines on this murder
Yeah.
scene.
But you're right. He's just like, well, fitting ending. Oops.
I love how they witness a man's death, and he's like, "How can I thank you for killing that man?" It's like, even though he was trying to murder him, like, I feel like even if somebody was trying to kill me, if I just saw them die in a vat of acid, I'd be a little shaken by it.
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
like, "God, should we call the cops, or what? What do we tell them? Are they going to believe that he fell in there? Or
Oh,
are they going to think
right.
we didn't?" It's like, how can I thank you for murdering that man in acid? Oh, he's
Yeah.
gone.
He wasn't a bad guy.
That's a good way to do. It's almost a purplish with the lines to do the night sky
To do the
versus
nice guy, yeah.
some of the earlier ones, but like this scene. Wow. Well, that was fun to look at. I didn't realize it would be so short.
I know. It was interesting. I love the artwork, even though it's awkward. I mean, look at how tiny his feet is compared to the rest.
It's almost like he's got a heel on his boot.
Yeah. And
Gives
it's
him some
almost
height.
like his costume is lined. Like it's almost like it looks flannel,
He's got
but
a
it's
bulletproof
puffy.
thing under it, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that. But
Yeah, the little blunt, or not blunt, but like stunted ears.
yeah.
And then the completely round. It's weird. You'd always see that, especially in the '90s. You get the Norm Breyfogle, like the tall,
Yes.
skinny,
I
gaunt-looking Batman. I like that gaunt
I
Batman.
love Norm's Batman. That was his cape.
He looks so
He's alive.
smug, Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon's so much older looking in these old ones, versus he's like nearing retirement age, or like upper 50s
50s,
maybe.
yeah.
And this one, he's like solidly 68 years old.
Yeah.
He's like,
It's like, why are you
72.
hanging out with a young millionaire?
better smoke a cigarette. It keeps me young. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
We got a first issue from both companies, both of the major companies, separated by such years though. What was it, 1939 and then 1963?
Yes.
It makes you realize,
Before
like,
my mom was born, and then the year I was
it's funny
born.
they get compared and contrasted, especially by people that don't read any comics from any other publishers. Like, you know, they're the big two mainstream comic companies.
Right.
But it's such an apples and oranges comparison, because it's not like they started the same year. It's not like they have the same amount of reboots in their continuity, or even like formats, as we see, like, what, a 6-page comic versus I think it was like the first
Yours
issue's
is
over 20.
20. Yeah.
Because I notice a lot of the standard issues later on, like the Fantastic Four run, settles into a comfortable 20 pages, and maybe like 18, because the pagination on some of these changes, where I think there's an ad, it'll go from like 11 to 13.
Gotcha.
And I think maybe it was planned for an ad. But yeah, this is quite a bit more detailed, isn't it? We've got
In depth.
23, so yeah, this was 21. So we got about 23 pages for the first issue. And we get a whole, like, here's a premise of 6 characters, really, with Professor X himself, and then their main villain, and his, not really his backstory, but like his abilities and goals. And this one is just like, these chemical guys wanted to kill you like a guinea pig. Now he's dead. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
It's there's no explanation of like
Well,
or
we don't get
exploration of their
Bruce's-
characters.
right, we don't get
maybe
that yet.
you know, it's the first time, so they're teasing it. Do you think people are interested in?
Right. I mean, look at him. He's scary. He's a little.
They're already
scary
planning
looking.
ahead though. Next month, another
month.
Batman.
Yeah.
This month and every month. They're like, that one was so popular. We're just Detective Comics. That just means Batman Comics
But look
now.
at how the uniform's already changed.
He looks so awkward dropping down on it.
Yes.
That's pretty slick, though. That's more of a, I could see a contemporary Batman doing that kind of,
Oh,
he likes to
yeah.
do those judo moves. Look at that little guy.
I'm really enjoying the old Batman stuff. Oh,
Gosh,
there
these
we've got
character
some ears.
designs really,
Yes.
it reminds me of something from like Tintin or
Yes.
some of those kind of comics. All right, well, thanks for watching this, and we're going to be doing some more Golden Age comics, or Silver Age, or whatever you would call it, in future episodes, so I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.